Hello folks, welcome to the Night Sky Imaging YouTube channel. I am Ed Overstreet and I'm back this time with an overview of the new weighted batch processing script by PixInsight. Let's head on over there and see what it has to allow. Okay, the most recent weighted batch processing script is now available when you update PixInsight. It will automatically install, and you can go to resources, down to updates, and then check for updates. Nothing is available. It's all grayed out because I have the script open, and I'll close it. So if you go to updates and then install view or check for updates, it will indicate that you have one due. I would advise you to install it. So once you have it installed, then to run the script, you go to script, weighted batch processing, and open it up. There has been some major changes to the script, and I'm really excited about one in particular. And because I really don't know what goes under the hood, as they say in PixInsight, I can't explain how things are done in there. I have no earthly idea. I am a math idiot, but I know what works for me, and I know that I am a drizzle fool. And I would advise everybody that images, this isn't just coming from me, but coming from the mouths of people much smarter in this than I am. If you shoot a one-shot color camera, do two things: dither or dye, dither and drizzle. Those are the two D's: drizzle, dither, dither, drizzle, and you will be the beneficiary of much improvement in your images. That much I know from my now experience of working with this. So let's do a couple of things, though. I want to address some of the additions to the new interface that I can recall. I can't remember them all, but if you go to lights, there's a new interactive mode, and there's going to be more control if you select the interactive mode. And during the process of going through the weighted batch processing script, it will ask you if you want to make changes to the parameters and involving normalization of your image. And normalization really goes to the point of picking a reference image in your group of images, taking an image that's a reference image and applying that those weights to the rest of your other images. So this gives you a chance to play a role in that if you want. I trust. So far, I've done both, and I'm kind of a lost as to exactly what I should do. And because this script takes a long time to run, I don't experiment as much as I do with other things. And yes, you can add like 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 images. You don't have to put all these up, and it runs faster. But still, it takes some time. So I'm waiting for Adam Block. I'm a loser, guys. I'm waiting for Adam Block to come out with a more detailed and an understanding that I can explain to others. But so far, I haven't heard from him or seen a video on this. He'll soon be out. But at any rate, so then you also have, where did I go? You have Astrometric solution. And I love this because before, if you wanted to run the a photometric calibration, I had to go pull a light frame and use those RA and deck embedded coordinates in the fits file of the light frame because my calibrated lights had it removed. So now if you check Astrometric, whatever it is, solution, it will keep those coordinates, RA and deck, embedded in your calibrated file, and you don't have to go pull one. So yay, that's a big plus. So I haven't changed anything here. Now, under linear defects correction, I have heretofore had this unchecked. And the one time that I ran it was when I thought I saw some banding and some lines kind of going not quite horizontal, but a little bit diagonal. And I thought, well, I'm going to run this, and I'm going to, hang on a minute, and I'm going to pick, instead of columns, I'm going to pick rows, because it looked like, if anything, I had some banding in the rows. So I left the rejection limit at 3, and I ran it, and it was a hideous outcome. And so I just unchecked this, and from that point forward, everything's been just hunky-dory. Well, I ran this script yesterday, and I inadvertently forgot to uncheck this, and it was on columns, and my outcome was great. So I don't know whether to check or uncheck it. This you will have to experiment with, but if you have any crazy outcome, the first thing I would recommend changing is uncheck this and try it, because that did happen in my case. I don't know why. Again, it's over my ski level. I don't know. And when it comes, by the way, I reran this. This is Andromeda that I did a video on how I processed this, and I reran this. And this time I added bias instead of flat darks. And I did that because I thought, if I'm going to run it again, I want to compare the flat frames and see if the bias or the flat darks made a difference. And honestly, man, I went over the comparison as close as I could. I can't tell the difference. So now that's with the ASI 1600 monochrome camera. It varies from camera to camera, and it probably varies from ASI 1600 to ASI 1600. And I have 2 of those that I use at the same time most of the time. So I'm not going to swap cameras and see if I have the same thing with both of them, but there's a good chance that I don't need flat darks with the ASI 1600, and I'm going with that. And so far, I haven't been able to tell a difference. I don't think there's any changes in darks. By the way, I have masters because I've already ran this, and so masters were created, so now I can use the masters. If I was running this for the very first time, then I would have 20 8-second dark frames and 20 30-second darks and 20 45-second darks. There would be no masters. And the same with the bias. I already ran it, so I just went ahead and deleted the single file. You don't have to do that. I did. And the same with the flat. So now that I have masters in my output, I'll just use those, and the process runs quicker. And here are my light frames. Now I went through Blink again, and I deleted a few more frames because I do know I'm going to add HA and some more blue to this next Tuesday night, when it looks like we're going to have our first clear sky night in 2 weeks. Believe that, 2 weeks. I'm almost nauseated saying that. 2 weeks I've gone without imaging. That's why I'm making all these videos. I'm bored to death. Okay, so whether they're good or not, I'm making them. So subscribe and say you like them. Anyway, I get a kick out of the appeal YouTubers make for subscribing, liking, and then, of course, ringing the bell. If you ring my bell, Guys, I don't care whether you like, subscribe, or ring the bell. I enjoy making them. If it helps anybody, goody, goody gumdrops. All right, back to lights. So try leaving this checked. It comes default by default checked, and I wouldn't worry about exposure tolerance. I keep mine on 0, but as long as your exposures are within 2 seconds of each other, well, that's not what it means. But when you apply, I'm going to put it on 0, period, because I take flats exactly at the exposure of if I take a flat darks, they're exactly that exposure. If I take darks, I use a set of darks for my lights that match the exposure. I don't take a 30. I could have taken a 30-second dark and a 45-second dark and put 15 seconds of calibration and just used the 45-second dark, and I wouldn't have needed to take 30s, and it would have applied the 45-second dark master to all of my 45-second light frames in calibration, and that's fine. I would have had to change that to 15. The difference between 30-second darks and 45-second darks, they're such short exposures, probably is negligible, but I'm anal, and I went ahead and took 30-second darks, 8-second darks, and 45-second darks. It didn't take long to do it, so I do it. And for that reason, I'll keep the tolerance to 0. So I don't check interactive mode because I like to walk away, come back, and everything's done. And yay, for the first time, why this wasn't done initially, I can go up to drizzle integration and I can delete this process icon because no longer do I need it. It's now built in the script. And so when you go to calibration, let's just walk through the rest of this. And let's say you click on your light frame. Then if you have a cosmetic correction template, and you should have one, if you don't, send me an email or leave me a note and a way to get a hold of you, and I will send my process icons to you, and it will have this cosmetic correction, because all you have to do is just keep it up here in your process icons, and it's capital C, and then when you run this, just put on capital C, and it will remove your hot pixels. And I apply this to all frames. This is not a one-shot color camera. I did mono, LRGB. I took 8 seconds for the stars, and I took 30 seconds for Lume. I took 45 seconds for RG and B. I took RGB for stars at 8 seconds. But if this was a one-shot color camera, then I would check color filter array, and I would pick, no longer would I pick, I have to select, I think I'm going to have to select RGGB. But after this new script, I don't know, it may have it's in my light frame. Well, I'm about to say something I'm not sure of. I'm not sure if a light frame, if ZWO embeds the mosaic script in the light frame. I don't think they do. So just know that if you're using a ZWO camera, then it's RGGB. That's the color mosaic pattern. But under debayer method, from this point forward, I'm using superpixel. I did a video on why under one-shot color camera about 5 or 6, 7 videos ago. And but at any rate, I'm going to uncheck this, and it defaults to automatic, and just leave it at that. Calibration settings for dark and flat, leave it auto. And then you have an opportunity here to make this thing go much faster by use the fastest method with lower quality results. Now I want you to tell me why in the name, unless you're, well, I don't even know how you can compare images because you want this to go faster if you're going faster and getting lesser quality. This to me doesn't make sense. Why spend 3, 4, 5 hours one night, 3, 4, 5 hours the next night, 3, 4, 5 hours the next night, get the good data, come in and say, I want the worst quality I can get. Does that make sense? I'm trying to think this one through. What am I missing? It will go faster, but I don't need fast food with my images. I want to sit down and see a T-bone or a bone out filet mignon and some lobster and some drawn butter. It's lunchtime. And I want something that I'm proud of because ultimately I want to be able to show everybody what I did and bow my neck and say, look at me, that's what I want to do. I'm 78 years old and I still want to, hey, check me out. I'm an astro imager. Don't pay any attention to me. My wife says I talk too much. 54 years she's been married to me. And she's just now coming to that conclusion. I pick maximum quality. Yes, it takes a long time. Put your stuff together. We have enough cloudy nights that you don't have to process your data immediately. If you've got good imaging nights, image. If you have a cloudy night, take new calibration frames. And then on the second cloudy night, run your data. Just let it run all night if it needs to. Wake up, bingo, you got what you needed. So I click apply quality to all frames. Why would he do anything else but? I don't know. I'm not working with keywords on this, so I can uncheck that. But if it comes default check, and that's fine, you can leave it as it is. Be careful here. If you want to make all of this go away, then the graphic user interface, GUI, you can select on this and you just make and again, I don't know why we're doing that. It isn't like it takes a lot of space. This is also new where you can purge your cache, and I'm going to rerun this. I'm going to leave it alone. I don't want to purge anything. This is the same. I want to run the auto reference. I want, when they start stacking these images, I want PixInsight to select the one they think is the best one to use for stacking. Why trust me? I got 78-year-old eyes and I don't know what I'm doing, so it doesn't make sense. And then, of course, you continue to pick the output directory. And since I have done this now 3 times, the first time was the old weighted batch processing. The second time I screwed up, and I'm going to show you why I screwed up so that you don't screw up. And the third time is what I got going on now, and I'm so bloody impressed. I'm going to show you the masters right away. And by the way, I'm going to go to the first time I ran it, and I'm going to show you that this is where I pulled my new master darks and my new master flats. These are the masters that I used in this script instead of running the calibration frames that I took for darks and flats. But I didn't use the flat darks. Instead, I ran bias frames for this third run. But on the first run, I registered, and if you click on blue, you're going to see, it's hard to see it, but it's got, at the end of each file name, it's got, after R for registration, it's got calibration, cosmetic correction, registration, that's what these stand for, and then DRZ for drizzle. These are the drizzled frames. And in order to have it drizzled, it used to be when you were finished, you had to open up drizzle integration and do this again to create your new drizzled files. So now, when you go to post calibration and you click on, say, your grays, then you can go to enable drizzle configuration. I did this. Gosh, I was excited. I thought, well, they recommend these defaults. I accepted them. I ran it. It took 7 hours to run because I selected everything. And when it was done, oh, you ought to see this new pipeline. It's beautiful. But anyway, I'm jumping ahead. And when it was done, I want to apply to all frames. And when it was done, I went and I pulled up my, let me find them again. Oh, I can't go there. There's too much garbage on my page. Let's just pull up Astro Drive. I'm sorry, guys. Bear with me. These things you well know I land on my feet. And so let's go to September. The only thing I've been able to take in a long time. All right. I'm going to show you the second run, the masters. And now what you have is the drizzled image already finished. You don't have to stop and start all over again with drizzling. It's done. So here's the red drizzled image, and it's got drizzle right towards the end, written in, big time. Yes, it's done. No longer do I have to run the script, and then when it's done, come back and do drizzle integration. It's integrated into the system along with the new embedded data for calibration to do the astrometry, and you don't have to go fetch a file to look for it to do it. So I am just really excited about this, and I don't know why it took this long to do it, but thank goodness they have. So you have drizzled for everything because I checked it. But you know, I checked it wrong. I left it at the default. The default was one time. So if you look at the one time, let's take the green. They're right on top of each other. This file size is 197 megabytes. Now you would think a drizzled file size would be twice that. It's 134 megabytes. So what the heck is going on? I don't have a drizzled image. I have an image that's actually smaller. So I pulled both of these up on PixInsight, and I compared the stars side by side. And they look equally bad. There's no drizzling going on. And I thought, crap. One times. And then I saw it one times. One time. One time. PixInsight begs the question, why do we have a one-time drizzle? What is that advantage? Again, I'm going to have to wait for Adam Block, who's part of the PixInsight team, to make his video so he can explain it to me, because I don't get it. I don't understand. So, but it is what it is. So let's go back to Pix, and let me show you what you have to do. And this is what caused my third run. Come on, Pix, where are you? All right, there it is. So what you've got to do is change this scale to 2 times. I'll tell you what, I can see me doing this again. And I wish I could make this my default because I can see this doing it again. So at any rate, I don't have a one-shot color camera, but if I did, I would select Super Pixel instead of VNG, and I would separate the RG and B. And then you can remove that halo, that green, red, aberration on your stars. When you combine them back again, it's a thing of beauty. I'll tell you what, in the last 2 updates with PixInsight, it has made life so much easier for me. And I know the people who have been users of this over the years are going to probably say the same thing. It's just I didn't understand them. And this really applies to me. So just take note, guys. If you have a one-shot color camera, when to drizzle, if you have a one-shot color camera, I don't think it makes much sense not to drizzle, not to dither. Because if you don't dither with a one-shot color camera, then expect sorry looking stars. And but dither times 2, and you're gonna remember I said that, because you're gonna be better off for it. And you want to apply this to all groups. So I don't know the square. My pixels are square. I don't know what drop shrink means. I have no idea. I just know that scale is the number of times you're going to drizzle, and this is 2 times. So if I would have been paying attention to that, and I think I went over this with a tooth comb, I went ahead and changed this to 0 too. Now we've got something new. It's called pipeline. And when you start running this, you're going to see this script, and it's going to go through each one of these things. It's telling you how much time it takes. And you're going to realize the things that take a lot of time. Linear defects correction takes 23 gigabytes of space. It takes 3 hours for my computer to run it. So you might want to rethink when you go back here to your lights if you want to run linear defects correction. I did. I ran it on all 3 runs. The last 2 runs. The first run was with the old weighted batch processing. The second 2 runs was with this checked. And it will add some time to it. But I did it. All right. Well, folks, I hope this makes sense. I'm not going to run it again. I will show you this. If you take, this is my green drizzled image. And if you want the let's say you don't like the effect that it had, and you drizzled it, and maybe in your case, the noise was out of control. And you may say, crap, I'm going to see what the image not drizzled. Do they still have it? Yep. Just go to File, Open. You got pick your poison. And we're going to go to the 3 run, and it was green, wasn't it? So here's the drizzle for green. And that's the 45 second. And here's the non-drizzled for green. So let's open that up. Now is when you're going to get your high rejection, your low rejection. If you just open up your drizzle file, all you get is that big white screen which you delete, which I have no idea why is that coming up. It always came up with drizzle integration, and I have no idea why. So you can delete high rejection, low rejection. You might want to look and see what's being rejected. And then this is the non-drizzled image. And let's just take this and zoom in to a place. Let's say that's a good place to zoom in. And let's move over, drop this on top of that name. And so there's your drizzled image, there's your non-drizzled image. Your noise is there, but it's smaller. It's more manageable. They say drizzling creates noise. I don't get that either. It doesn't with my images. But noise is so bloody manageable today with noise reduction tools that, don't worry about it. Raise the gain, raise the ISO. Don't worry about it. We can manage that now. And in software and AI, it's mind-blowing. So no longer is our high ISO fears. You shouldn't have them. Don't dial it down just because you think you're going to manage the noise. Get the signal. Screw the noise. Okay, we can fix that later. All right, well, I think I'm done there. I don't want that anymore. All I want are my drizzled images. The other reason why you want to drizzle, besides a one-shot color camera, is if you're undersampled. And when you're undersampled, in my case, I have a good way. By the way, you can find out if you're undersampled. I run these pages for high school. Let me go over to, let's go to pixel scale. Is that what I want? Yeah. All right. Go to pixel scale. You'll find that under astronomy.tools, and it's under calculators. And go down to CCD suitability. It's right there. And then when you scroll down, put your camera, find your camera. In my case, I used a Stellar View 70 ST. Let's go. And chances are your telescope's down here. I said camera, I meant telescope. Okay. Here it is. SV70T, and I used a 0.80 reducer. All right. Camera was a 1600 ZWO. It's at the bottom. Go up some. A little more. There it is. So now, so I've got a 1600 pixel size 380, and with a reducer. Here's my pixels. My pixels scale, 2.33 arc seconds per pixel. And if you go down here, it says this combination leads to slight undersampling. And so I'm out of the range over here, and this reduces the influence of guiding. Well, hell yes. If you've got, excuse me, I mean, throwing, at any rate, if you've got a wide field telescope like 336 millimeter field of view, you're going to have less guiding errors. It's when your focal length's 2400 and you have any movement at all is going to create guiding errors. So any bad scene at all. But here's what's kind of important in this scale. Not just that I'm undersampled. I know I'm undersampled, and what that will create is not enough pixels for my stars. I don't have that many pixels for my stars. That's why I drizzle 2 times, so I can increase the algorithms do it algorithmically. Anyway, it figures out the extra stars that are needed that would have been there had I not been undersampled. I understand me. I may retake this one. Okay, then this is important. I don't have okay scene. I've got poor scene, and when you have poor scene, watch what happens to your sampling. It gets better. Now I'm in the green. So I do have poor scene. I'm at about my sky value is somewhere about 19.34 or 5. I have a sky meter behind me that I use. And depending on when in the month, where the moon is, but it varies. But the best it gets is about 20.3 or 20.4. So I have poor scene. So I'm actually in the ideal range. I still drizzle. You see what my pixels look like that are drizzled and not drizzled. What image would you want? And so I think this is important. I think you need to pay attention. It'll tell you where your baseline is and where you are. But I know I have poor scene, and still I know I have a need to drizzle. So now, if you're way out here somewhere, then you may have plenty of pixels for your small stars. I don't. So you can spend a lot of time over here varying the pixel size, the scene, the cameras that you're using to see what best combination. And I would advise anybody that's about to buy a telescope and or a camera to come here or to similar sites like this and put the combination you're planning to get together, particularly if you're new at doing this. If I'd have known to have done this, I wouldn't have such insane combinations that I went out and tried to image in early on. How many pieces of equipment did I order that weren't right in the early stages of trying to figure this out? So take a lesson from the one guy probably who made a bad buying decision on every buying decision he made, probably the first year or even 2. My wife would say even most recently that you can make. All right, well, folks, I hope this helped. There's so much more to the weighted batch processing script that people with a little more understanding of what goes on under the hood, as in Adam Block, I would encourage you to seek him out. And I know Sean Nielsen's going to be talking with people about some of the new nuances of the weighted batch processing script. And he should come out with the video, if he hasn't already, that addresses this. So get a lot of opinions on it. And then, of course, the fun is in the trying and the fun is in the experimenting, and go have some fun. I'll catch you later. And guys, I hope everybody has some clear skies. And I beg you, I come to you with humble heart. Subscribe, like, or die.